Alright, what's going on guys? BitDealer here, bringing you a new strategy video. So today, this video is going to cover how I go about reviewing a daily session and a weekly session, kind of some stuff that you can look at throughout the day, or whenever you're reviewing a session, you can look at, and kind of some different questions you can ask yourself and things that you can take note of. Just give you overall like a structure of how to do this. And there is no real right or wrong way. The whole point of this is just to go back and review every trading day after the session is over, just to look, see if you find anything interesting, see if any reoccurring patterns are happening, and just get a better overall feel for the flow of the price action and how price moves on a day-to-day basis. And you can see here on the screen I have one that I just did. This is yesterday's price action. Not too complex. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple one. I also have a few examples here of some other possible ways you can do it. And pretty much this whole session review is just so you can better understand price movements, seek out potential trades or setups that you could have taken, and just pick up on any different nuances that you can find. Doing these every single day, I guarantee you would greatly help you improve on getting a better feel for the price action and just the flow of the market. So we can go ahead and hop into this. Basically, I'm going to go over this one that I have marked out here and then give you a few different things that you can look at, and then go over my other examples. So, just marked out here, I have off the open here, we have the low and the high within the first hour of the trading day, which is basically the initial balance, which is the IBL and the IBH. Initial balance high, initial balance low. So that's just the high and low the first 1 hour of the trading day. You can see that off the open, we also got the high of the day. So I put high of the day set within the first 15 minutes during the Asia session. And at the top here, you can see that I have the different sessions marked out. So basically, Asia session opens up 1 hour before the daily open. Basically, the daily open is here, this dotted line. Then we have Asia session, we have London open, London's throughout here, and then we have New York open. London and New York overlap a little bit, but I just like to separate everything by open, or like the session opens. So we got Asia session, London session, and New York session. And then, the day ends here. So some people might do it differently, might look at kill zones or whatever, but that's just how I do it. So, right off the open, beginning of Asia, pretty much, we set the high of the day within the first 15 minutes of the, after the open. That is also the initial balance high. Price kind of makes its way lower here, forms a supply zone whenever price breaks down here. This consolidation that led to the breakdown below the daily open. So this supply zone broke the daily open and the initial balance low. And you can see here, price breaks initial balance low and daily open. It hints at more downside. So after we're closing below the initial balance low and the daily open, you can kind of expect more downside throughout the day. Not always the case, but just a general rule and idea, something that you can think about. And this setup here is based off of the initial balance strategy that I'm working on. Just a real simple version that I can give you here is the first close below the initial balance here. I shorted with a stop below or above the swing that pushed price out of the initial balance here, plus 5 points. So give it that 5 point cushion. And then a fixed 2R target. You can do different targets different ways. This strategy is not fully complete, but I'm going to make a whole separate video and a whole separate guide to the initial balance strategy. So that's this trade here. It worked out pretty well. Would have bagged 2R on that trade, minus fees. But here I have marked out the supply zone, and I have here price retest supply zone that broke price out of the initial balance and the daily open here. So price retested here and heads lower. Comes down towards the end of Asia right before London open and sets the low of the day. You can also see PDL's previous day low. So the low of the day took out yesterday's low and then pushed away, right? And then on this move here that broke back above this daily SR level that I have here marked out, I took the OTE from the highest candle body to the lowest candle body of this move. Price came, retested that perfectly, and went higher. And you can see the daily open is this blue line, and then the initial bounce low is that black line. Price pushes up and gets rejected by both of these. And we get a stop run, basically a false high or false break. Take out some of these highs and then get rejected. So stop run above the daily open plus a sign of weakness once it's back below. You know, that's a pretty good opportunity to short it. I put stop run above daily open once back below, and signs of weakness. Watch for short setups. So this setup here that I marked out here is the over under setup. Basically here price pushes up against this level, and this is the initial bounce low. You know, short-lived rally above that level and then a break below it, and then on the retest of that level, basically like the over under, short it with a stop above the candle that broke it back below the level, right? So this candle here plus 5 points, and I just targeted the daily level. Well, I put the target on here as the daily level. And you know, these setups are obviously easier done in hindsight like this, but if you have very strict rules like this initial balance strategy that I'm working out, I mean, it's the same rule every single time. So hindsight or not, it's the same rule. You can see if it would have worked or not. You know, there's no discretionary decisions that you have to make at all. So the whole point of this is just seeing if there were potential setups throughout the day, something that I can come back and look for every day. But anyways, then you can see that price comes back down towards this daily level, breaks it and flips it as a SR right there. You know, support, breaks it, now it's resistance, and pushes lower. See price is in this nice bearish channel here, these two orange lines. And these are two pretty clean trends here. Just wanted to mark those off. You could probably trade and scalp in these trends or channels, whatever. But I also have, you can see here, the New York Open is this line here, and the London Open is this line. But look at the volatility we get right after the Open, New York Open. You know, daily Open and New York Open are usually the highest volume and volatility times of the day. So watching how price reacts and moves at these different, you know, high volatility and volume times is really key in my opinion. You want to make note of all of these different moves and how price usually tends to react around these times. You know, you could build whole strategies around that in itself, but I have these three lows. So basically this low. So hold on, this first move here took out these stops. Price rallies, then comes back down, takes out these stops. Same thing, comes back down, takes out these stops. So it's basically a triple stop pattern, and that's a reversal pattern. So you have the 1, 2, 3, and then price reversed, broke out of the bearish channel, and then started this uptrend. You can see it trended up from you know, a few hours after New York Open all the way until the end of the day. This black line here is the daily open or daily close, whatever. And then you can see once price got back above the, you know, you had a false high here, false break above daily open and the initial balance low. You know, after a few tests of this level though, you could probably imagine it would give in at some point, especially pushing up with this bullish market structure here after it broke the bearish channel. And you know, once it got back up, just kept pushing higher until the daily close. And this is something I've noticed you might want to take note of or just start looking for. It's nothing too significant or crazy, but you know, just any nuance that you can pick up on is just an added edge. Everything that you can, you know, just more information, more actionable information is always good. But I noticed this pattern during the last hour of the day. It happens pretty often, right? So you can see from here to this black line is the last hour of the day. Let me see if I can mark that out. So technically this is the open of the Asia session, is 1 hour before the daily open. But you can see price, we get a drop and then a stronger rally straight into the close or the daily open. And I've noticed this quite often. You get that little kind of like a U or like just a down, then a rally up. After Asia open, before the daily open, you get that little U pattern. I just noticed that pretty often. But let me see if I can do something real quick. So that's pretty much it for the daily session. That's how I pretty much go about it and look for stuff. Here's like the checklist more or less of what you can use. So how does price move off of the daily open? Is there a fake out above or below the daily open? Does price immediately push higher or lower? Are there any patterns that occur often enough at the daily open to build a strategy around it? So let's take a look at the daily open real quick. So what did it do? Daily opens here, you get one candle down below it, then price immediately pushes higher, right? So, is there a fake out below daily open? Technically, yes. Get a, one candle below daily open, then you push higher back above it. So that's technically a fake out. Price does push immediately higher, right? Like I said. And then are there any patterns that occur often enough at the daily open to build a strategy around? That's something you can think of for yourself, but that's kind of how I started building this initial balance strategy, is looking at how price moves and reacts around the daily open, trying to work and find patterns that you can just build a whole strategy around, and something that you can trade off every single day. The initial balance is there set up. Once the initial balance high or low is broken, does price use, that should be used, not us. The initial balance is SR throughout the day. So there is a setup here, yes, and we took it. Well, not really took it, but marked it out, took note of it. It did work out, it did play out. You would have got a win on this trade here. And does it use it as SR throughout the day? I mean, pretty frequently, yes, it does. I mean, resistant or breaks at resistance, kind of get a fake out and then push it back above it as resistance. Clear resistance here. Break it, use it as support on the way back up. So yeah, I would say it definitely does use it as SR. High and low of the day. During what session does the high and low of the day get set? So yesterday, September 11th, the high and low both got set during the Asia session. Do these levels get retested throughout the day, or does price stay far away from them? So it doesn't really get near the high until like at the close. It got somewhat close to it, not that close, and then the low doesn't get retested or even close to it. So price doesn't really go back to these extremes of the day. The high and the low of the day. It kind of stays in between, in the middle, which is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, if you set the high and low, you're going to be in between it throughout the day, but it doesn't really come back down to test these extremes much. It kind of just stays away from them. So that's just something that you can take note of. Any recurring patterns? Are there any patterns that occur almost every day? Are they tradable? So just one pattern here is this one little U-shaped pattern that I wanted to take note of, and then the initial balance stuff. So those are just two reoccurring patterns that you can look for every day, and if they're tradable, if you start seeing these patterns, look for if they're tradable. Could you do the same thing every single day whenever you see this pattern and profit from it? Are there any trap traders? Where do they get trapped throughout the day? And how does price move towards the daily close? Does it pump or dump into the close? Is it high or low volatility? Are there any patterns? So, kind of already covered some of that stuff. But overall, these are just some ideas that you can use to go back and look through the daily sessions and review them, review the price action, see if you can find any setups throughout the day that you could have taken, and just see what worked, see what didn't work, see how price moved, and all of that. Just try to get a better understanding of how price flows throughout the day. If there are any time of day or times of the day that are higher volume, more volatility throughout that time period, maybe you only want to trade that. You know, overall, I think that doing these will really, really, really help you out in a few different ways. Just finding different patterns, finding different setups, getting your time of day strategies down, like what time and what sessions you want to be trading. It can just help you pick up on a lot of different stuff. So I highly recommend that you guys do these. Even if it's not every day, try to bust out a few a week. It's definitely something that I need to be more active in and start doing more often, because I have not been doing them as much as I should be. But you can do the same thing for the weekly. See, this is the week, from Monday till Sunday. You can kind of just review what happened throughout the week, what days were most volatile, what days the high and low got set during the week, and just anything that happened, take note of, see if it happens more than, is it random? Does it happen more often than just being random? And just, pick up on anything you really can. And these are just a few more examples. These are already in the journal. You should be able to find them in there. But I think that's about it for now. I think that's it. I'm just going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kind of just did it on the fly. It wasn't real scripted. So I hope I covered everything well enough. And yeah, I guess I'll just see you guys later. Thanks.